2020 has been the biggest bust of my entire lifetime, and I was alive when Anthony Bennett was taken with the #1 overall pick. Now, I don't mean to call out Anthony Bennett, but he was for sure a bust, and I am saying that 2020 is worse than that. We're going to go ahead and talk about the saddest week in Major League Baseball history because I'm looking at my script right now. There is not anything good. The owners are on one side, the players are on the other. There's a wedge in the middle of a 50% of Americans saying I'm on the side of the owners, I'm on the side of the players. And what we're going to do right now is we're going to break down what side you should be on. A couple days ago, I made a rant video about how MLB should be embarrassed of the way that things are playing out because realistically, again, nothing good has come out so far. Maybe a few donations, we'll talk about that because people keep wanting to just call baseball players greedy and it doesn't make sense. So the stats are 98% of people out there right now agree with my stance that the players have a right to stand up for what they signed for. And then the other 2%, that's what you call the minority. So sure, you can have your opinion, but you're gonna get a lot of flack because most people are on the side of not only the players, but also the baseball community in general. We want baseball back more than anything, but we stand up for injustice. And also, speaking of injustice, I wanna use this platform for good as well. I don't wanna stay neutral. This whole thing with George Floyd really puts into perspective how petty and how stupid this Major League Baseball situation is. So I wanted to go ahead and say that right now. Hashtag justice for George Floyd. No one deserves that, and it makes Major League Baseball and their issues just seem so small and so petty and so trivial. I hate it. But we've come to this, the saddest week in Major League Baseball history. If you guys don't have a Twitter, Max Scherzer, one of the heads, like he's a player in the CBA, but he's actually one of the main council members. You could say that he's pretty much Obi-Wan Kenobi of the CBA if we're talking about players. I told you guys this. The minor league players are going to be the ones that suffer the most. Mike Trout's going to be fine. Bryce Harper's going to be fine. They have endorsements up to you know what. They'll be fine even making $6 million because they're getting 10 from Body Armor and Under Armour. They'll be fine. I get that. But the minor league players are getting released like flies. They're saying, okay, you're released, you're released, you're released. You know that Oprah meme where they say you get a gift and you get a gift or whatever that meme is? That's the owners right now with letting go and furloughing minor league baseball players. They're just saying, you're gone, you're gone, you're gone, you're gone. And the worst part about that right now is these minor league players now have nowhere to turn because the transactions are frozen. MLB has frozen transactions, meaning that let's say a top prospect for the Mets gets released. Even though he's a top prospect and he's really good, he can't sign with any other ball club because of those frozen transactions. And on top of that, a lot of people have been saying, just go play in the KBO. They can get a good amount of money. The KBO, I believe, each team gets 3 overseas spots and they're all full. So if you're a minor league baseball player with some talent, you can't sign with another team if you're released and you can't go to the KBO. You have to go play independent baseball. I mean, maybe one of them is going to end up like Jose Altuve where you start in independent baseball and you make your way to become a superstar. I don't think that's very likely. That's just my opinion. So what do you guys think? Is this the saddest week in Major League Baseball history? I've never seen such a divide in the community where it comes to the point where it gets personal because people are taking offense to what players are saying, and then other people are taking offense to what the owners are saying because they want the players to, fight for injustice, but then other people are saying that the injustice is the players being greedy. After discussing the latest developments with the rest of the players, there's no reason to engage with MLB in any further compensation reductions. We have previously negotiated a pay cut in the version of prorated salaries, and there's no justification to accept a second pay cut based upon the current information the union has received. I'm glad to hear any other players voicing the same viewpoint and believe MLB's economic strategy would completely change if all documentation were to become public information. So pretty much what he's saying is he wants all of the information to be put out there so the American people can see what exactly the owners are doing. So if you guys missed it, I'll summarize it super quick. In March, they agreed on a prorated salary. So let's say that they played 82 games. They would be paid for 82 games, not for 162. So in doing so, all of the superstar players gave up their right, like the superstar high-paid players, they gave up the right to sue Major League Baseball for the rest of that money. So they agreed for the prorated. In turn, all of the young players and the guys that were going to be free agents in 2021, they would get their service time. So even though they're playing 82, they're going to get 1 full year. Then the owners, they went back, they want 50% of the revenue. Now they sent out a new proposal negating that completely. It's not going to be a thing because they want 70% of Mike Trout's money, and they want to spread throughout the league. So pretty much what Mike Trout's salary would do is it would deflate all the way down to about $7 million, and the rest of it would go to the Yankees, the Astros, the Dodgers, big market teams that don't really need a lot of help because they're owned by billionaire owners. Think about this, okay? The airline companies, they get a lot of flack because they are asking the government for money. No one's mad at the pilot. So let's say that the airline companies get $1 billion tax reduction for the government. Who's saying F that pilot? That pilot needs to be grateful for what he has. That's the same situation that we have right now with the players. The players are the pilots, and they're being subject to a lot of criticism, even though their bosses took the risk of having a business, and now because of the roller coaster economy, they have to take the brunt of it because they're millionaire brats. So again, I brought up the fact that 98% of you guys agree with me that players, they have a stance and they have every right to stick behind it. So the 2% of you that believe the owners are in the right, let me just say this right now. David Price just came out and gave $1,000 to every single minor league player in the Dodger system. Mookie Betts paid for an entire grocery store's bill. Everyone that was in that store got their bill taken care of. Thousands and thousands of dollars. Shin-Soo Choo also gave $1,000 to every minor league player in the Rangers system. George Springer donated $100,000. Freddie Freeman donated $50,000. And then also Jason Hayward gave $200,000 to Corona Relief. But yeah, let's call the players the greedy ones when the billionaires are fighting over millions. So that's what I wanted to go ahead and start the video with. Max Scherzer, he's straight up saying that this is not going to get done if we're going down this road that the owners are choosing to go down. And also I wanted to try and convince the 2% of you that say players are greedy. You know, Yogi Berra went to war for this country. So if Mike Trout doesn't want to play because he's at risk, replace him. Yeah, good luck trying to find a replacement for Mike Trout. He deserves every penny that he's being paid. And honestly, he's so good at baseball, he's actually underpaid. So if you don't like that, I'm going to just say get over yourself. You're in the 2%. You're in the minority. Your opinion means just as much as mine. But again, maybe I'm being condescending. Maybe I'm not. I'm going to leave it up to you guys. So I wanted to go ahead and talk about those people that say players are not risking anything because they're superstar athletes. They're in top physical condition. What are they risking? Did you guys know that Corona most affects people with underlying conditions such as cancer or leukemia? Carlos Carrasco in 2019 didn't know that he had cancer until his 12th start. Could you imagine if Carlos Carrasco was playing, let's say he didn't have cancer last year, he was going to play in 2020, and in his 12th start, he figured out that he had cancer and then got corona. It's not going to be a good situation for Carlos Carrasco, so that's one thing that I want to point out there as well. There is risk. You guys might just not be able to see it because you guys think, oh, what are the chances that an MLB player or a pitcher is going to get hit with a comebacker? It's very slim. Or a guy tearing his ACL like Andrew McCutchen on a pickle going from first to second base. It's very slim. I get that. But you have to understand that the risks are internal as well. So we can't wait for this. We can't wait for Carlos Carrasco 2.0. Oh, wait, we already have Carlos Carrasco 2.0. Trey Mancini has cancer. He didn't know until he was taking BP and thought to himself, I'm not feeling very powerful. I feel very fatigued. He took one test. No cancer. It took 2 tests for the Orioles medical staff to figure out that Trey Mancini had cancer. And if he got corona, it's pretty much a done deal. You wipe your hands because what cancer does is it attacks your blood cells, and you need white blood cells to be able to fight the corona. So pretty much what would happen with Trey Mancini is he would get paid 1/4 of his income to play for a horrible team that can't even make the playoffs. He would essentially be wasting his life for the owner's gain. Does that put things into perspective? If that doesn't, I don't know what will. So I have a few more points that I want to talk about. So we've talked about 98% of people are on favor of the player. So don't get it twisted when someone comes back to you like, oh, players should stand up for America and take a pay cut and play for free. Those guys are in the 2%, okay? I want you all to understand that. Keep fighting for injustices. We have a right to stick up for the players, and they have no, I mean, okay, maybe they've been petulant. Blake Snell, he says that he's not going to risk it even though he's getting paid millions and millions of dollars. I understand that that doesn't come across as well. You're never going to win an argument if that is your main stance. But we can have counter arguments to try and persuade and get people on the side of the players to get this deal done. Because again, the owners are the 2%. They're saying, I'm a billionaire owner. I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I get all of my money back in return because there's no fans, there's no concessions, there's no merchandise. That makes sense. But they're a business owner. There are assets and liabilities to owning a business. Okay, players are both assets and liabilities. But the owners, they don't have depreciation. In fact, here's a stat for you guys. Player salaries have increased 40% over the last few years. The net worth or the overall value of Major League Baseball clubs have increased 300%. So Mike Trout, over the course of his career, his age is going to creep up to him and Father Time is going to depreciate his value. Whereas the owners, they're going to keep making more billions and more billions and more billions and more billions. 300% increase when you're talking about billions is a ton of money. So the owners, even John Fisher of the A's, decided to come out and stop paying his minor league system $400 a week. He's a billionaire. David Price can give each player $1,000. Shin-Sho Choo can give each minor league player $1,000, but you're telling me a billionaire owner can't? That's where I have to really try and take that wedge from the middle where there's 50% on this side. Actually, it's 98% on this side, 2% on this side in favor of the owners. I don't think that you guys are on the side of the owners. I think that you guys have a point in that the players are being greedy because there's 33 or 40 million plus Americans on unemployment and they're not getting paid nearly as much on unemployment or in their jobs. Like, it's really weird to me that Vons and Smiths or grocery store employees are considered essential and they're being paid less than guys on unemployment. It makes no sense to me. There are so many injustices in this world right now that really make the whole situation with Major League Baseball, again, just seem very small and stupid in my opinion. That really is the video. I had a script in mind, but I didn't have a clear thought process. I was just gonna start rattling off things. So we saw all of the players who have donated a huge amount to charities and grocery stores and hospital staffs. And if you're the guy, if you're the person that says, you know, Freddie Freeman only donated $50,000. That's like me donating $4. Well, I bet that's $4 more than you've donated. I'm not going to count the pockets of anyone. If you donate $50,000 to Feeding America, that is $50,000 that they didn't have before. So that's my stance on that. I guess all that I can really do is leave it up to you guys in the comment section down below, and you guys have to like each other's comments, and whatever is the top comment, I guess that's the majority. And I'm not saying that you're wrong if you're in that 2%. I'm not saying that I'm right. I'm just saying that more people have this opinion than those that say the owners should fight for their billions even though they're arguing with millionaires. And yeah, if anyone said it best, it's Scott Van Pelt. If you missed it, he saved ESPN yet again. I'm gonna go ahead and roll that right now. I hope that this is over soon because this is just stupid. I mean, honestly, what happened to George Floyd is so much more important than this that I almost don't even want to talk about anymore. But there's my opinion. There's my stance on the matter. And yeah, Scott Van Pelt, take it away, man.
So if your response to me saying I agree with Max Scherzer and I'm on the player's side in this baseball conversation is to regurgitate the unemployment numbers, well, I'm not going to have a good counter to that. They've been devastating. That's understood. But I can't imagine a scenario where someone who's asked to continue to do his job would agree to do it for a quarter on the dollar, particularly when you have a contract that states otherwise. How does that work? We just ignore what we agreed to and I continue to do the work while you get to pay me massively less? Particularly after I already agreed to a significant haircut in March. But see, this is where all anyone's going to do is be mad at the rich guy and say he's got enough money anyway, or he'll still make X amount of dollars. But that's not the point, because it's X minus 75% of what is written on the contract. And if I am a big ticket player and I have the gall to stand up for myself in asking how that makes sense, then I'm the bad guy. Well, that's just how it's going to have to be. Millions of people who lost their job can despise me for not taking my millions to play a kid's game. But any person in any job with a contract who's going to fulfill that contract by doing the work has the right to reasonably ask questions about the financials. Or, put another way,
take care of y'all chicken.
It's important. Really, it's just an excuse to hear Marshawn again. The chicken he's talking about, of course, is money. The dangerous game of chicken referred to by an agent in Ken Rosenthal's article on The Athletic Wednesday is what is taking shape. I said as much with Passan on Tuesday. If your offer is so insulting that I don't even counter it, I just ignore it, then make my own, perhaps insulting offer in return, that's not negotiating. And keep this in mind. Before the pandemic, all the things the biggest ticket players are giving up are things that they earned through collective bargaining, years served multiplied by high achievement and free agency. All that leads to the tens of millions of dollars on these contracts. And And when players already agreed to give back more than half of that in March, then you ask them to give back half of that again while playing the number of games you agreed upon, you land here. So I'm with the players. The fact that so many have lost their jobs doesn't make them the bad guys for asking how it makes any sense for them to go out and do theirs under these terms. Because it doesn't.
If you're bored and want to watch some more content, 2 videos are on the screen right now. And also, do not forget to follow me over on Twitch. We talk about baseball. We play MLB The Show. It's a great time. I'll catch you guys there. Have a wonderful day.